What's going on, everybody? Today I wanted to have a conversation about a very contentious topic, maybe the second most contentious topic next to politics, and I'm going to tie it in with politics. That topic is religion. So let's get it on here. Let's talk about revolution. I'm going to tie together the ideas of religion and socialism together because while I am not religious, I believe religion and socialism go together like peas and carrots. I don't like peas, but I like carrots, and I understand that they often come together as a package. I believe that socialism and religion come together as a package as well, and here's why. People tend to turn to religion when things are at their worst. You know, it's no secret that when the world is falling apart, people's faith becomes more rigid. The idea of socialism tends to spring up in its most potent forms when things are at their worst and people have nothing to lose but their chains. In this way, both are a response to overarching systems failing. Now, fascism is the result of the capitalist framework collapsing and will attempt to utilize the values and rhetoric of both religion and socialism to pull people over to its side. You don't have to have God mit uns as your motto or appeal, and you can always schmooze with the bourgeoisie within the state apparatus instead of heavily utilizing proletarian populist rhetoric. But due to the submissive nature of popular religions and the pull of fascism during times when socialism should be the right path to go down, I feel that often society's general level of religiosity can be an inhibitor to that society's growth into a more positive, free community. Let me go into some more detail on that. It's a commonly held notion amongst leftist thinkers that the contradictions within capitalism will eventually and inevitably drive it to its end. Some quarrel about the question of reform versus revolution in terms of how capitalism will transition during its death throes to some other system. But most leftists, by and large, agree that capitalism is only hanging on by constant shots of adrenaline at this point. Some leftists took shots at guessing an approximate time when it should be expected for capitalism to fall, expecting it to come within or shortly after their lifetimes. However, as we look around, we realize that a lot of their predictions were wrong. Capitalism has successfully swallowed every attack against it and harnessed and converted that into energy it can use to keep itself going. You know, the good old Mark Fisher phrase, nothing sells better on MTV than a protest against MTV. The Frankfurt School of Social Research has had many leading figures dedicate their time and energies into figuring out this predicament, why we haven't broken free from capitalism yet, like so many people promised. But anyway, let's zoom back out here. What I wanted to say is that when you listen to or read a lot of leftist theorists' thoughts on the end of capitalism, you hear them talk in terms of a society's ripeness for revolution or how far away something is from revolution, like it's a loading bar, and it just sounds like it's a matter of time before things logically start to happen. But there's a lot of factors that go into whether or not a revolution can persist besides just people's level of oppression in time, such as a culture's worldview and cultural beliefs. For instance, a society based around the Abrahamic faiths, which is by and large slave morality, is probably going to put up with oppression longer than societies that aren't built around a similar slave morality. Now, when I say slave morality, I mean that it teaches one to adequately become a slave to an unfair system with the hope that one will get what they truly deserve in an afterlife. You love your master and put faith in God, which basically is saying, yeah, the system sucks, but what can you do? When I die, it won't be my problem anymore, which then pushes the problem along to other generations. So I feel that religion truly is an opium of the people, and that it keeps them in a daydream, accepting of terrible circumstances so as to be rewarded in an afterlife for their hardship. It keeps the question of how can we stop hardship in this life at bay as a lofty ideal best saved for said afterlife. It shares its lot with Stoicism in that it teaches you more about how to deal with shitty circumstances as opposed to changing them. It's all about how you perceive things, they say, as you grind your life away as a cog in some businessman's money-making machine, siphoning your worth into theirs. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to look at a person suffering from not being able to afford to go to the doctor and say, just keep your chin up about it, bud. Abrahamic religious tradition is toxic in this way, and I believe it stands heavily in the way of any and every revolution. Now, here's what I will say about religion. Minorities tend to cling to it because when everything has been ripped from you but your spirit, you turn to the spiritual, rightfully so. For the marginalized, God is a symbol of light at the end of a dark tunnel. It's peace from the ills of the world, which marginalized people have experienced deeply, firsthand. After one's hellish tour of the planet, God represents a sigh of relief. All the bad people will be gone, and the destitute, the disadvantaged, the castaways can finally enjoy what they always deserved and were deprived of, a decent, happy life. I can't mock that. I can't mock someone who's gone through literal hell on earth and say that the one thing they cling to as an image of hope that they long for in the deepest parts of their hearts is bullcrap. How could I, when the thought of an imagined utopia underlies and fuels the fire of my own beliefs? I believe much of religion is ridiculous from a logical standpoint, but what I'm realizing is that with the disenchantment that came with modern-day life, the over-rational bureaucratization of politics and economics, the slipping of the sacred into commodity, and the atomization and quantization of humans into mere numbers, comes a rigidity extremely hostile to new creative thought. It's here where I have my issues with pure reason that was pushed by the Enlightenment purists. However, I don't see Abrahamic religion driving much new, creative, emancipatory thought. It tends to maintain its archaic characteristics and doesn't deviate much from whatever the scriptures will allow. And it continues to propagate the same chin up, have faith attitude. So I have kind of a two-faced relationship with religion. On one hand, I hate it because it keeps people delirious and willingly in servitude. It keeps things stagnant. On the other hand, I really like it for the same reasons I like reading utopian thought. The downtrodden just want to be able to live, and to hear their cries, begging just to be treated as humans, gives me perspective into why the image of God is so powerful to marginalized people. When you genuinely feel that you have no power to change the system, what else do you do besides look to a figure who can promise change? And what's extra sad about this is that fascists prey on those feelings. They'll beat you down and make the system miserable for you while ambiguously blaming the system as a whole for your woes, keeping the fact that they're holding the reins on that system hidden. They'll make the system shit while whispering in your ear, "The system's shit, huh? Well, I, or my group, can make it better." Of course they can make it better. They got you into this situation to begin with. They promise you that another group, pick one, Muslims, Jews, LGBTQ, random degenerates, whatever, is the reason why your life is hard, and that there are two groups, the right group and the wrong group. And if you're in the right group, your life will be vastly improved by getting rid of the wrong group. These right-wrong groups are arbitrary, fitting the needs of different depraved, powerful people at different times for different political ends. But they always have a way of inserting their figure in as the Christ-like figure, like, can't get to God yet? Well, you've been dreaming about him so much, what if we told you the next best thing is walking the earth right now? And then millions and millions of people trade in their visions of heaven for a voting ballot. So religion is a 50-50 for me, and it's all about the individual and how they handle it. Religion is something that gives a lot of minorities hope and energy to keep going, and I will never walk up to someone struggling and bash their religion. But if it's some rich bastard telling other people that God will love them if they just keep their head up and continue to swallow his shit, or if it's some privileged yuppie whose idea of a hard time is embarrassingly asking mommy for $20 so he can go to the mall and hang like the other cool kids and show off his Jesus Loves Me shirt, they can both walk into four-way traffic. Religion can be a tool for an individual to uplift their spirits and possibly prevent suicide, and it can be a tool for people to psychologically manipulate others into doing their whim. It is also a stumbling block when it comes to revolutionary practice due to this contradictory nature. Though the quote is unattributable to anyone and comes from a misreading of Sinclair Lewis, it's still popular and worthy of bringing up nonetheless. When fascism comes to America, it'll be wrapped in a flag and carrying a cross. So I guess I view religion all in all kind of the same way as I view fire. You know, it's a tool that you can use to either improve your life or it can grow out of control and ruin lives. So that's my nuanced little take on religion. I'm really 50-50 with it, and I think it all depends on the person and why they're clinging to religion. Anyway, I'm AJTheGray. Thank you for listening. I hope I at least opened up people to the thought that, like, it's not religion bad, yes or no. It's how religion is used and how it can be kind of a stumbling block, but how you can't really rip the rug out from people either, you know? It means a lot to people for different reasons. And some of those reasons deserve respect and some of them don't. Anyway, thanks for listening.